All right. So to not, wait any further, my name is Justinas, which if you would translate that in English, that would be Justin. But I don't like when people call me that. So my friends actually call me Justus, who call me Justus. But enough about me. So I'm from Nexus. If you have ever seen anything about Nexus or used it, or if you haven't, well, Nexus is an AI platform that unifies different models under the hood and allows you to become limitless at your job, automate your tasks, processes, and just get stuff done in a in an easier way. So in today's webinar, what we're gonna do is we're gonna showcase basically three most common use cases. And what do I mean when I say most common use cases? Well, because I'm not a marketer, I'm just a customer engineer at Nexus. But what I do is I help clients to actually implement AI agents, uh, complete their tasks, get their job done with AI. And I noticed throughout, my journey here at Nexus that different companies of different sizes still have pretty much the same problems, issues, or goals when it comes to marketing. And today, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show how we can, get those tasks done with AI in an efficient way. So those are gonna be the three use cases. So the first use case actually is gonna be a competitor research. So that one is going to be very basic and straightforward, but I'm going to show you how you can get competitor research alerts, news straight into your inbox. Then we're going to see how we can actually create the concept for marketing campaign just from our brand book and how to get started with that. And the third use case is going to be focused on SEO. So both SEO audits and SEO research. So we're going to do all of those three use cases. Now, already see that's a question if the session is going to be recorded. So yes, it's going to be recorded. And we can actually jump right now into my screen and we can get started. So let me just share the screen. Here it is. Okay. You should be able to see right now Nexus platform. So in here, if you haven't seen this before, in Nexus, what you can do, you can create chats, you can create agents, so you can automate your work either through chats or through agents. And in today's webinar, what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically show how we can solve some of the use cases through chat very easily just by having conversation and then building the agent from that. And also, then I'm going to show how you can build an agent from scratch. So if you already have an idea, you can immediately start building an agent and automate a process or a task that you have in mind. So here, as you can see, this is a chat. Pretty much as in any platform, the main difference and the main advantage we have is that you can go into all models and select from variety of different models in here. And then there's agents where you can, start from scratch and, create an agent based on your process, your idea, or your goals. So as I mentioned, the first agent or the first use case that I'm going to solve is going to be competitor research. So for competitor research, um, what we've actually done for this webinar, again, keep in mind, I'm not a marketer. I'm just pretending to be a marketer. So you'll notice, even though I'm not a marketer, I can get stuff done. So even if you have more knowledge than me, you're going to be way better off in this situation. But what we've done, we've basically prepared an imaginary brand for this webinar. So let's say for the webinar, we're going to have the drink brand, which is a functional drink. We have this Figma file prepared. In here, we pretty much have, our style guidelines, our brand personality, vision, mission. There are the different fonts that we have in here, just so we could have a clearer picture of what we're trying to achieve. And in this case, since the first thing that we want to do is build a competitor research agent, for this one, we want to actually see what other drink companies are doing on the market. So for that, again, I'm going to go into the agents, and agents are good if you already have an idea and you want to automate that idea from, let's say, the point A to point Z, and you don't need to have any discovery process in between. So for example, I already have an idea that I want to do competitor research. For this one, what I'm going to do, I've already actually written the prompts beforehand, but what you'll notice, they're pretty basic and very simple because I didn't want to type in front of a screen while, a bunch of people are looking at me and then make a bunch of typos. But here, like, I don't know, 5, 6 sentence prompt where I'm saying that, okay, create an agent for competitor research. The agent should research company news, product updates, marketing activity, recent events, and important updates. It should deliver a daily brief to Slack channel competitor insights. So we have this channel already set up. And the agent should also cover any brand alerts and if competitors are hopping on any of them. Yeah, lastly, based on the research, the agent should be able to provide recommendations for content, blog, and social media. And now all I'm gonna do below is just gonna type in the competitors. So again, we have a functional drink. So in this case, the competitors are gonna be Huel, if that's how you pronounce it, I actually don't know. Liquidet, Drink Olipop, Drink AG1, and Magic Mind. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send this prompt out in the agent builder that we've started. I can actually open up the studio to see how the flow of the agent is gonna be generated. And we're gonna start creating this agent just from a couple of these sentences and a short description that I gave. So in here, we can see the thinking process of the agent builder. So the agent that actually builds the agents. And in here soon, it's going to populate all of the information on the side. But it also might ask some clarifying questions if, for example, something was not 100% clear. So on the right, I immediately can see the flow of the agent. So for example, I can see the trigger. So it's going to be triggered daily at 8 a.m. I can see that's going to use a web search tool to fetch recent updates for each competitor. It's going to filter and structure collected updates. It's going to identify the current industry trends, generate content recommendations, format the Slack brief message, and then finally send that Slack message. So in here, I can actually go into the agent settings and see what was configured. So we have the name, description, the schedule. Over here is going to trigger basically daily. So probably we don't need to have daily competitor research. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to weekly, and it just picks days of the week for me. Also, it pre-selected the model. So again, the advantage that we have right here is that it selected the most powerful model. In our case, the Opus 4.8. But let's say if we want to save on cost or we don't need the most powerful model, what we can do is we can select Sonnet 4.6. We can select GPT models. We can select Gemini models. So we have the flexibility. That's a nice thing. And then over here, we have the agent instructions. So for example, this is how it's going to structure that competitor research, and this is how it's going to send it to Slack. And the good thing is that because I mentioned that I needed to have it in Slack, what it did, it enabled the integration by itself, and it enabled the web search tool, which is going to be used to scrape the information to get the research. But of course, in the agent builder, we also get some questions. So in here, it asks two things to confirm. The timing, so daily at 8 a.m. works for you. I can change it. Let's say in this case, yes, it does work. On the right, I can see, okay, I changed the runtime. So we can set it at 0.8 manually. AM, or I could change it through the chat. And also it asks the question, Slack ID, important. I added Slack integration, but I couldn't look up the exact channel ID on this run. So what actually happens if we wouldn't have the ID, the agent would try to find the channel by its name. But to prevent it, or maybe to exclude that extra step, what I can do is actually, I can bring up my Slack in the view, and I can click on the Slack channel and I can get the channel ID. So I can copy the ID in here. And then for the agent builder, I can actually say, okay, send it to this Slack channel. Now, what's going to happen? the agent builder is going to update the agent configuration without us actually touching it and updating it manually. Because as you've seen, what I did, I actually updated, let's say, the runtime manually. I've changed the models, so on and so forth. But here, for example, if I'm making a bigger change, I can just describe that change and the agent is going to be updated. Cool. So now it's going to send the research to that Slack channel. Let's say we can go from the settings and then we can actually go into try agent. And since this is a scheduled agent, so it would be scheduled to run at a particular time and it would trigger itself. But in this case, since I'm testing, what I can do is actually I can hit run. We're going to see the prompt that's going to pop up. And then the agent is actually doing all of the things that it has been instructed in its instructions. So for example, if we open up the thinking tab, so here you can actually expand it, you can collapse it, you can see the thought process behind the agent and what it's doing. So it's actually searching each competitor, and in this case, for June, for the month of June, and is checking different sources of information, then is checking another competitor, and a lot more resources are popping in here, and we're basically gathering all of the data. And once the agent gathers all of this information, what it's going to do is going to provide us with that research done in the Slack, which I also am going to show you in a minute. So again, we can see that we have the output in here. So posted today's brief for the competitor insights channel. Here's the recap. It gives us the recap on the platform, which is great. We can just look at it, read it because we're testing it. Or if, let's say, I have scheduled this in the past, I can go back into the channel and then I can see all of the research that it's done. So for example, I actually didn't specify like any particular way or how I wanted to structure the research so we could work on this and improve what we want exactly. But then we get some interesting news. So for example, the Huel research that done. So so there was acquisition of Huel by the non. Then we have Magic Mind. They have new sleep performance shot. AG1 Pro launched. I'm not sure what that is, but basically if I would be in the functional drink space, I could get this daily, weekly, or on any cadence that I want. And I could go through it before, every day, and I would know what my competitors are already doing. Another option for example, like I know that this format might not be the best. For example, I personally don't like this many links. It just distracts me. So for example, what I could do is tell in the agent builder, when providing the research, don't share the links. And that's it. And now the agent builder is going to update the configuration of the agent. What we can do then, again, we can run the agent, test it out, see how the research looks like, and proceed further. So again, now it's gonna I provided instructions, it's gonna update it accordingly, and now it's gonna update the flow. So maybe in the flow is gonna mention that you need to exclude the links. Then we can go again in the settings, and if we would look in the instructions, we'd probably find information that it has to exclude URLs. Okay, so yeah, for example, in here I can see that message must contain no URLs. Maybe I should actually zoom in. That should probably be better, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's actually the first agent. Competitor research, we've done it. Of course, if I would do it by myself, I would probably do it in 5 minutes or faster. But since I was explaining, we took a bit longer. But it gets the gist. It's actually pretty fast and pretty efficient how you can do it. So now, again, don't forget this. Whenever you build agents, or do your work, always save it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on save and we're gonna have this agent saved. And now it's gonna perform the research for us on the schedule that it's set. So that's technically the first use case that we have been able to deliver. So for example, I have the agent, I already can see that it's scheduled. I can go into the logs, can see its past runs and how it works. Now, the next use case that I want to explore is going to be through chat. So first, the competitor research agent was quite straightforward. We knew the process step by step. The second use case is going to be making a marketing campaign only from an idea and the brand book we have. So again, the brand book is this Figma file. And in here, again, I can choose any integration that I want, any model that I want. So for example, in this case, again, everyone defaults to, let's say, Opus 4.8. If you don't care, using the most powerful model and you want to use it for everything, we can do the same. So let's say we're going to stick to this one. And in here, I can start typing in what I want. So again, the prompt is going to be pretty straightforward that I'm going to paste in the chat. And in this prompt, what I'm saying is basically, I want to create a summer campaign for a drink brand. So again, this drink brand that we have in a Figma file. The audience is going to be young professional who values wellness, productivity, and active lifestyle. The goal is to increase awareness among young professionals across Europe during the summer season. And what I'm also doing is I'm saying I have the brand book in Figma and it has all of the tone and voice in there. So what I want to do is to first analyze it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to enable the Figma integration. I pasted the URL. So this is the URL of this Figma board, and I'm just going to send it off. Basically, now, of course, I could go in and say, okay, I have this Figma file. What I need you to do, I need to analyze it and start building everything from, from scratch. Build me the ad copy, build me the campaign concept. But instead, what I wanted to do first is to analyze all of our information in it, and only then I want to actually proceed working with it step by step. So my goal is not to get the result immediately, but I want to iterate over the process that I have, see what works, and then finally, when I understand what works, create, let's say, a campaign concept out of it. So the first thing that I've done, it went through whole of the Figma board. So keep in mind that it went through the brand personality that we have in here, the vision, the mission, our logo type, the save zones, and the type fonts, the colors. Basically, it went through every single piece and saved that in its memory. And then we can actually go through it and see, okay, so this is the brand foundation. So the brand personality, vision, mission, target audience. Then this is the visual identity. Okay, we have our typography, we have our color palette, we have our tone of voice, how this sets up the summer campaign. So we built out some logic, and then it asks, what deliverables do you want first? Which channels matter the most? And how structured should the output be? For that, I've actually also prepared. So for example, I can copy the prompt that I have. Again, these prompts are like nothing crazy. This is like, as you can see, like a couple of sentences. And in here, what I'm saying to the previous questions is, this is what we need you to provide. The campaign concept, so campaign name, campaign hook, main narrative, tagline options, the creative direction, visual themes, creative concepts, UGC concepts, and these are the additional ad sets to help you. So in here, I've actually shared plain Google Docs. So for example, I can actually open them up. And in these Google Docs, all we have is like the best performing content or tone of voice examples. If I open it here, yeah, so tone of voice examples as well. So we can just give this context for the chat as well. So as we've given the Figma information the same way, we've actually given the tone of voice, the best performing content. And in here, now, since I'm giving the Google Docs, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna enable the Google Doc integration and I'm gonna send it off. Once I'm gonna send it off, actually at the end, what I'm doing is I'm asking a slide deck with the campaign concept and the creative direction. And my goal right now is that I will have a slide deck that will be based on our brand book. That's going to be based on our best performing copy. That's going to be based on our tone of voice examples. And then I can actually have the slide deck with the idea, with the concept, and I can go to the stakeholders and show the ideas that we've come up with or the angles that we want to take for the summer campaign. All right. Actually, I see a comment, a question, I mean, in the chat. So it was asked by Lucas, do the different models while making a flow, let's change the output, or maybe do you recommend a specific model for competitor analysis? Yeah, so different models do impact the outputs. So it really depends. What is your use case, what you're using for your situation, or what you want to achieve. But let's say in the situation where we were creating competitor research agent, we were doing it through Agent Builder, and it actually selected the model for us. So that was actually already outsourced. We didn't need to do that thinking process. Whereas here in the chat, I've actually picked the Cloud Opus model myself just because it was the first option. Also, what we have is we have the auto option. If I would choose the auto option, what would happen is that basically in the chat, the model again would be picked based on the situation. So if let's say we're creating a copy, maybe we would select Claude. If we are localizing content, maybe it would select GPT. So again, that's why we also in the platform have auto models, because they just help out to pick specific model for the specific use case. And in the agent builder, the previous one that I showed, is the same thing basically. You type in what you need your agent to do, and it selects the best model for the use case. All right. So we finished actually creating the slide deck. So we see that there's going to be 12 slides in here. We have the creative direction with visual themes, creative concepts, UGC concepts, a name, hook, narrative themes, tagline options. And now what we can do, we can actually download it and can open it up. We can actually go through it and see what has been done. So as you can see, we have, let's say, our sharp all summer hashtag in here. We have for who the campaign is, the goal, when. Now we have the campaign concept. This is going to be, again, sharp all summer. So this is going to be our tagline that we're going to go with. Then we have the story. We tell all season, stay focused, stay refreshed, stay moving. But basically, you get the point. Just by sharing the Figma file, this sharing our tone of voice and best performing content, we basically created like a 12-page slide deck that we can already present to our stakeholders. Or what we can do is actually we can iterate on it and improve it. So for example, if something looks off, what I can do, I can come in the chat and say, okay, change, let's say, slide number 1 to look this and this way, or include this. So again, I'm not a marketer. I'm not the best at getting these, concepts across, but I just want to give you a good understanding of what's possible even for a non-marketer as me. So let's say we've created this, slide deck with the concept that, let's say, we can already, showcase to our stakeholders. The next thing that I want to do in this case is start creating the ad copy, because we have the campaign concept. And in here, again, I paste the prompt. Again, it's very simple. All I'm asking in the prompt, great. Now we have all of the creative direction and concepts. Now I want to proceed by creating content for different channels. So ad copy for Meta and Google, landing page copy, blog article copy, social media copy, and video script. Also localize it for different markets and provide outputs in the Word files. I will also attach previous copy examples. So we can actually send this off. Yeah, we have everything we need. We can actually send this off. And then, for example, I can just open up and show again. This is going to be very simple Google Doc with examples in here. So as you can see, the Instagram post, so post 1, post 2, post 3, then we have meta ads variation. So very basic examples in the Google Docs that we're going to be able to reference it through the chat by just providing those links and having the integration enabled. And now when we're going to create the ad copy, we're going to take everything that happened before in the chat as a reference. And again, every time it's still referencing all of the information that was analyzed from the Figma file. So we're not like starting from scratch with every single message. And right now it's planning to output me with doc files that we could, again, share with our stakeholders, maybe provide for media buyers, and so on and so forth. I've actually came prepared because I know that. So imagine this: like you would need to prepare all of this by yourself. It would probably would take days, you know. So if it takes 45 minutes, I'm fine with that. But since I'm, sitting in front of an audience, I just don't want to stay quiet for that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the examples that I've created when I tested before jumping on this webinar. So for example, this is going to be the drink summer copy for UK. So it did exactly what we asked. It came up with meta ads. And for example, in the example that we had for the copy examples, there were four meta ads goods examples. And what it did exactly the same. It provided us with a four ad variations for meta. I can scroll. We created the same for Google Ads. So we have the headlines, we have the descriptions, and we do have the landing copy. And we did this same thing across different markets because I asked for the localization. So in here, yes, we have it in Spanish. So I know there's someone from Spain watching us. Hey, here you go. Already prepared, meta ads copy for you as well, with the headlines, with the titles, with the landing page copy. So it did exactly what I asked for. And again, it's still running in the background. So for example, I can expand it and see what's the thought process behind it. So as you can see, it's called Google Docs for the reference, for the information. Then it's saying that it's planning our Google Doc, I mean, not a Google Doc, but the Word document. Then it ran into some, errors. It analyzed that and it continued processing the data with all of the information. So I could even expand and go a bit deeper, but for most of us, that's pretty unnecessary because these become relevant when you're trying to troubleshoot, but also these are good because you can actually see what was the thought process. And if you want to improve something, you can actually iterate over it. But as we speak, I see some questions in the Q&A. Okay. How do you know your Instagram post is not hitting Instagram caption limits or follows best practice for Instagram or other channels? From what I see, it just came up with idea, but no specifics. Yeah. So you can actually be as concrete with AI as you want. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm trying to show it off how quickly it is to iterate and edit something. In this case, I didn't include any specifics of what like how long should the Instagram captions be, but it has skills. The platform itself has skills on the best practices. So for example, if I would ask to create a slide deck, it has a skill for that. If I would ask to create copy, it already has a skill for that, and it references the best practices. And in this case, I'm not repeating that information and I'm not mentioning that information by myself because I hope that the platform is going to reference that information and going to apply it in the output. But of course, AI always hallucinates whatever you tell it. There's statistically impossible for AI uh, not to hallucinate. But basically, if you want to be as specific as possible, of course, give it the character limits, give the best practices for your company. In this case, all I did, I gave just the best practice or the copy examples from Google Docs, and my hope was that it's going to reference it and apply the same exact instructions in there. All right, we have a few more questions, so actually I can go through them. So will the integration still work if the Google Workspace is restricted to company only? Yes. So basically, again, if the integration is enabled for the platform or the workspace, what you can do is you can connect through your own authentication, and you're going to be able to see the documents that only you can see. So for let's say if there's any sensitive data that company has in its own folders, you're not going to be able to see that data. You're going to work only with the data basically from your authentication. Another question, does analysis errors when the agent is processing mean there is a problem with prompt instruction? Not really. What it means basically that when the AI itself was creating the files or making the analysis, it might have ran into some of the blockers and is just trying to fix those blockers on the go. So that doesn't necessarily mean the prompt was good, but maybe it was not specific enough. And by testing, we can see what causes those errors and what doesn't. But either way, again, we got the result in here, and we have, again, let's say our content for UK, for Germany, for Spain, and everything was provided for us as we've instructed. Uh, all right, one more question. Let's go. Do you have any reusable documents, sort of a knowledge base? For example, it would be useful to have the tone of voice or brand book doc that would be used across different agents. Yes, that is also possible in the platform. To not go too in depth into it, but there's a section called projects where you essentially add files, let's say the tone of voice, and it can reference, the agents can reference it. You can reference it in the chat. So for example, if I type in add sign, I can, call different agents. I can call different knowledge bases, which are projects, and reference those tone of voices. But as we all know, most of the marketers, they like to stay in their Google Docs, Google Sheets, and everything. That's why I'm showcasing how easy it is actually to reference the information and files. All right. So we got the basically the ad copy from our concept. And now what I want to do, I actually want to create a task in Asana for our design team, because we have the concept, we have the creative idea, we have the copy. Now we actually need the visuals for someone to do the visuals. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to enable Asana. And all I'm going to type in again, great, since we have everything now, I want you to create a task in Asana with the creative concepts for the designers and everything we've discussed here. So again, very broad prompt. There's not much specificity to it. All I'm saying is create a task in Asana. And my hope would be right now that it's going to ask, well, to which project should I create this? Or it actually saved that in the memory from my previous goes. But essentially, it's right now checking, let's say, which projects I have in Asana, and actually did that. So which Asana project should I create the designer task in? I'm going to select design brief, design team briefs. I'm going to submit it, and it's going to proceed working in the Asana and creating the task. So again, I was actually running this previously before I joined on the webinar, and these were the tasks that it created. So for example, it created a design brief for Instagram post, created a design brief for landing page. We can expand it. I can see that it selected the due date, assignee, and the description added based on what we've shared in the previous prompts. But you can actually be as specific as you want while working with integrations. Why? Because, for example, in this case, I didn't specify like what's going to be the due dates, what's going to be, who's going to be the assignee. So what's going to happen, either is going to leave it empty or is going to pick me by default. But basically you can you can play around. And what I notice when I'm talking with customers, with our clients who are using Nexus and overall using AI, they feel very scared or intimidated to break something. But usually, or not, pretty much never, you're gonna break anything just by attempting to do things and get stuff done. So that's why I always urge people to just ask. So for example, if you're not sure how something is gonna work, so for example, if I'm not sure if now Claude is gonna add task in Asana, what I can do is I can say, okay, how are you going to add the task? Like, are you going to add like assignee, or you're going to add the due date? And it's going to come back to me and say, okay, yeah, these fields are necessary, or if these fields are needed for you. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fill that information. So basically, there's no risk in actually asking AI to complete the stuff for you. Okay, I can see that's actually processing the data. So it's working in Asana. It's creating the task. Let's see. Yeah, we still don't have anything in the to do. But again, I see one question. Does Nexus support only Asana or other project management tools as well? So it actually supports a variety of different tools. So if you would go into the integrations or yeah, I would open up the list of integrations in my settings. There's a bunch of these. So for example, the ones that I use are Asana. I use the Google Docs, Atlassian, so Confluence, Jira, all of the Google suites. We have Miro, and there's a lot more integrations that I don't even have enabled. But for example, yeah, we have HubSpot as CRM, and many others. So Notion is another popular one, Salesforce. So yeah, actually a bunch of these are in the integrations. I just have enabled only a couple of them for the sake of this webinar. And yeah, okay, so we can actually see the thought process. Okay, so it's creating the task, interacting, ran into something. Again, maybe the prompt was a bit too vague, but my goal is just to, uh, write the tasks for AI and let it handle the rest, the logic. Of course, if something is not clear, my hope is that it's gonna always get back to me and say, okay, this is not clear. What do we do next? But now I can see it's adjusting the formatting so Asana accepts the task description. Do we have it? No, not yet. But basically, right now it's interacting with the Asana. So yeah, what I should probably have done before is written a better prompt, specifically identifying, let's say, what I want to add in the assignee or what I want to add in. Oh shoot, my camera is falling off. All right. Yeah, so what I want to add in an assignee and description. But I see some other questions. So in your demos, Claude successfully handles all the tasks end to end. If Claude is already doing 100% of the heavy lifting for my use case, what is the core value proposition of paying a multi-model platform like Nexus instead of just using a standalone Anthropic subscription? Good question. The thing is that, again, as I mentioned, oh, why is it falling? The camera. I probably will need to switch to my laptop if it happens again. Okay, so the thing is that mm, yeah, I'm gonna switch to my other camera. Just give me a minute because, or no, it looks good. Yeah, it looks good. Anyway, so basically now what I did, I didn't change the models throughout this whole process while we worked just for the simplicity purposes. Because again, I'm not marketer. So for example, I don't understand the difference between copy written by Claude or copy written by ChatGPT. But what I do know is that marketers really understand those aspects and the differences. And that's when they use it to actually get the most out of different models. And personally, in my use cases, let's say if I need idea generation or brainstorming, I use Gemini models. If I need to do something with the coding tasks or data analysis, I use Claude. If I need something with language translation, I use GPT models. And I do that within Nexus and without leaving it. So that's why there's advantage of having it. And in this case, I just stuck with one model just as an example. But yeah. Another question, what's the value add of your product compared to Claude? Is that you can choose models from different competitors and use chat and agents in the same interface. Basically, the main advantage I would say, yeah, of course, you have different models, so though there's no vendor lock-in. Another advantage of the ease of use of the platform, how easy it is to set up agents, how easy it is to enable integrations and actually get stuff done with it. And of course, another huge advantage why, for example, our clients come to us and start working with us is that we have that aspect of customer engineers, which, me and my team, we go into our clients' departments, we see how they work, we see what will work for them. We help to actually implement that stuff with them. And of course, we give like a one unified workspace for all of the teams. So the fact that you can very easily share chats, share projects, share agents with your teammates makes it's very easy to collaborate with your teammates. So those are just the key aspects. Of course, there's the security aspect. We have models that are hosted in EU, have 0-day data retention, so on and so forth. But I'm probably staying on this topic for too long. Let's move along. So again, yeah, where was I? Oh, yeah, in Asana. Okay, so we created a task in Asana. I can see we've actually created the subtasks as well. We can go into it. We can go over it, but as you can see, we haven't been really specific with this, but it already created all of the subtasks and everything we needed. If I would give more context, it would probably do even better. But let's say I've had this chat, I've iterated throughout it, I've seen what works, what doesn't work, and what I can do now for let's say for the um, chat, I can type in now, turn all of this conversation into instructions for creating an agent through our agent builder. Make sure agent always references the correct links for information. And I'm going to again send this information out. And what it's going to do is going to capture all of the information, all of the context from the whole chat, and it's going to put in one system prompt that we can easily copy and then go into the agent builder, paste it there, and have an agent built from the process that we've just had throughout this whole conversation. So yeah, so for example, when it's going to provide us the output, will we be able to go into the agents? So into this section, and then we're going to be able to create an agent. So start from scratch, and that way create the agent that completes the marketing concept from like the idea to ad copy to generating the slide deck, basically everything. And we're going to be able to then repeat that process over and over and over again once we have that agent built. Okay, so as you can see, it's already creating the system prompt. It's processing how it's gonna present, for example, the links for reference in this case. And yeah, so basically we're gonna get this system prompt and we're gonna be able to copy paste it in the agent builder. And yeah, as I mentioned, have that repeatable process done. So in here, I can actually already click on create from scratch. I can probably open the studio. And once we have it, I'm gonna immediately paste it in. So the reason why it might take so long because it still has to go throughout the whole chat, understand what's important, what worked, and then organize a good way to deliver this as an agent. Oh, okay, so it actually delivered a Google Doc, I mean a Word document, which I didn't ask, but okay. So that's why it took a bit longer. So let's see what it says here. Okay, so document is organized to match the standard agent builder fields, agent name, description, system prompt, integrations, example prompts, guardrail summary. And we have this doc. So I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna open it up. Okay, even in the same brand colors. Okay, nice. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna Control A. I'm gonna go into the agent builder. I'm gonna paste it in here. I'm gonna delete this thing. And all I'm gonna type in, build this agent. And the agent builder is gonna proceed with actually creating an agent for this process that we can then repeat in the future. All right. Oh, we have another question. Okay, what sources are available for the marketing research, similar to the first example you've shown? Is it a web fetch only? So for marketing research, you can pretty much connect a variety of different integrations, plus use the web search tool. So let's say in the next example, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how you can do, let's say, keyword research and add Ahrefs. So you're not only limited by let's say web scraping tool. For example, we have, I think, again, from the memory, I can't remember all of them, but let's say Hacker News, you can enable that. For the, let's say, content ideas, you can enable Reddit and get Reddit ideas. ideas basically from Reddit. You can add Ahrefs to get the keyword research done. So there's a bunch of tools and integrations you can add to Nexus to actually get that stuff done. And yeah, so now we created the agent. As you can see, all of the integrations that we've used have been added for this agent, and we're going to be able to basically repeat this process over and over again, going from idea to concept to creative direction with this agent. So what I can do now, I can just save it, and I'm gonna have this agent where I can work and get, so for example, I don't know, autumn or back to school campaign comes, and I can, just input what I need and already get these assets generated on fly. So that was the second use case. It actually took a bit longer than I expected. So without further ado, what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump to the SEO cases. So the first one, again, we've got the agent created here. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go back to the agents, and then I'm going to click on create agent, start from scratch. So now I'm not using the chat to understand what works and what doesn't. But for example, I want to create an agent that's gonna analyze or gonna do an audit on SEO articles. In here, what I'm gonna type in, create an agent that fetches blog article from Google Doc and performs SEO audit. Agent should be able to outline missing topics and content gaps. It should provide a very detailed analysis at the end and give updated article with outline changes done in the article. So I'm gonna send this out. We're immediately going to start building an agent. Again, I can expand the studio window. We'll be able to go into the settings, see how it comes up with the instructions. But again, remember that this is using the best knowledge and skills to understand what works for the SEO audit. And then we're going to be able to test it out with one of the articles and see what results we get or what is the feedback from the agent. Okay, so this one was actually quite fast. We have only one integration. So we can just read through this, pulls a blog articles straight from Google Doc, runs a detailed SEO audit, maps out content gaps, returns full revised article. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is actually go and copy a blog article. So for example, if I click this one out and go in here, I can actually see that there's a blog article that we have. And in here, I can actually go into the try agent, paste the article, and see how it handles or how it does the audit. And based on that, then we can decide either agent works exactly how we want it, or if we want to iterate over it. So yeah, so the name that it decided to give is like SEO article auditor, which is fine. The first step that it's doing is actually going into the Google Doc, fetching the information, so fetching the whole article, and the next steps are going to be to actually analyze it. So now is the processing the data that it fetched to understand what's behind it. And then when it provides us with the insights, actually, the cool thing that it does right now, it is actually, again, using the web search tool to understand based on our article, what is actually ranking on the first pages based on those searches. And then again, the agent collects all of the information from that and then proceeds to actually give you an audit or analysis of your article. Okay, so it says it fetched the audit article, document confirmed, good, assumptions, and then there's deliverables. Okay, so there's the detailed SEO audit, so I can read through it. So for example, articles 100% brand narrative, it ranks for almost nothing because it answers no search query. The phrase sparkling protein appears, but informational commercial intent terms are absent. No keyword in opening 100 words. So as you can see, the agent, I've just built this agent in like, 3 minutes, and it's already roasting my article. Yeah, but I needed that, you know? Okay, so then let's see what it says about the title and meta. So, okay, it's evocative, but contains no searchable keyword. Okay. Meta description, none detected. Heading structure, good H2 cadence, fix add question format for H2. But basically, yeah, as you can see, the agent is actually roasting me a lot because there's at least the hook is good. But yeah, because the article that I created was very simple one, but the goal was to show how we can actually get feedback in real time. And what it did, then it delivered a revised article with the changes that we can see here. So of course, it used best practices. It checked based on the searches, what are the keywords that other articles rank on. And yeah, that's the audit that we have. But for example, the thing that I was missing that I noticed, it didn't provide any suggestions for ranking for actually generative search, or how LLMs actually retrieve data. So what I do now is actually in the agent builder type in that I want to update the agent to work in a way that it would use our web search tool to determine suggestions for LLM optimization. We also want our articles to rank on all major LLM providers. So again, what I'm instructing in the prompt, that agent builder, every time it runs basically the agent, it would invoke the web search tool to analyze based on different keywords from our article what ranks on the first page, and also based on that give suggestions for that article. So that way we can actually know the keywords that we are optimizing for, and also know that we are optimizing for the LLM search and not only for the SEO. All right, so we have the updated agent. Yeah, and let's say we've tested it already. I could input the same article and see how it returns. But again, don't want to waste too much of your time. Let's say I like this agent. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to show how we can do SEO research with other integrations, not only just, let's say, um, web tool or web search tool. For that, again, this is going to be a simple use case. I'm going to go into the chat. We can actually select different model because that was asked a couple of times. Let's say I want to use GPT model for this case. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the Ahrefs integration. So we know that every good SEO marketer uses Ahrefs to get their insights. And this prompt is actually going to be a bit more extensive. So don't be afraid. But the only reason why it's more extensive, because it's gonna ask for the model to actually provide a topical map. So actually I can send this off. It's gonna start working, and then we can actually go through the prompt. Why this camera keeps falling? I don't understand. Like, that's the startup life, guys. Better. Right. Okay. All right, so the prompts, let's go over it. Using the Ahrefs tool, search the keyword landscape for the topic functional drinks and build a comprehensive topical authority map structured as hierarchy. Root node, so functional drinks, level one branches, identify 4 to 6 pillars that represent the major subtopic clusters. People search around this topic. Then level two, for each pillar, pull 8 to 14 semantically related questions or long tail keywords using Ahrefs keyword suggestion related terms, also rank for data. And then basically it explains how it should order it. So if there are any SEO marketers that are watching this webinar, you probably know this a lot better than I do. But what I liked about this when I actually ran it before the webinar is that it is able basically to fetch all of the data regarding the keywords, and it's able to create a topical map that is actually can be used in the presentation or for your stakeholders, or just to have you a better visual understanding on the search volumes and on the keywords that you should use. Okay, so we're still working in Ahrefs. So for example, like every call is doing right now, it's fetching new information. So for example, if it's fetching, let's say, 10 different keywords, it's looking for the search difficulty or rank difficulty. Again, I'm not SEO marketing, so sorry for that, but it's basically searching for all of the relevant information so it could add into that topical map. And again, I've actually ran this before I came here, but I didn't look at it. So let's hope it's good. Oh yeah, it's actually decent. Okay, so we have this topical map that I've ran before, and it created this thing. So what we have in here, we have, let's say, all of the keywords. So, for example, for energy and performance, oh, sorry. We have energy drinks, healthy energy drinks, sports drinks, and the search volume next to each other. We have the total search volume per category. So it basically came up with this topical map based on the prompt that you've just seen and using the Ahrefs integration. So again, like how long would this take me to prepare in Miro board? I don't know, probably too long. But yeah, now let's see what it comes up because I can see we already have all of the research. So pretty much, yeah, we have information about the energy drinks, uh, search volume, what are the keywords that are ranking, the adaptogen drinks. I wouldn't have thought about it. Well, there you go. That's AI for you. Again, the cameras. Okay, never mind. Then the functional beverages, basics, and the market, prebiotic and functional soda. Again, the keyword that I wouldn't have thought about. But let's see the topical map. Again, this is nerve-wracking every time because I don't know what's gonna come out and I'm live. So let's just open it up. Okay, okay. This one is a bit more extensive, I would say. But as you can see, it did pretty much the same thing. Again, I'm gonna admit it, this one doesn't look as nice as the previous one, but you still get all of the value. You can see each category and you can see the search volume for each category, which is really, really nice, in my opinion. If I would be a content marketer, honestly, I would appreciate this a lot. All right. Yeah. So that's another use case. And again, if you would want to create an agent for this, technically we could take this prompt, go into the agent in builder and input it over there and basically have it run on auto whenever we need. So do we have like any other questions from what I've shown or any thoughts? Because I know I answered a couple of them already. No, no questions, right? Oh, there's a chat. Oh, sorry. There's a chat. Wait, where's the chat? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing anyways. I don't need the screen. Mm-mm-mm. Will the recording be available? Yes, sir. Uh, how many credits did you use for this presentation? Yeah, actually don't know. Would need to go to check. Um, but I can't tell exactly. How is data from the input chats is used? Will it be used to train the models? Very good question. No, it's not going to be used to train the models because in Nexus we have all of the enterprise contracts with all of the providers. That means that we get zero data retention on the model. It's EU hosted, and they can't train their models on any of the data that is shared through Nexus. So again, that's another advantage of using Nexus because you don't have to worry about extra security layers on top. Can you do a thinking mode like in the cloud for better research? So actually, when I was running the use cases, you've probably seen that there's a thinking tab, and the thing is that it actually decides on itself when it should pull up the thinking mode or the more advanced mode to basically complete the task. So that's also done on autopilot to make it easier for the users and optimize costs. So for example, you're not, let's say, if you're working with a colleague, your colleague is not using the thinking mode on every single run, and the platform itself optimizes for it. All right. So I think that's it. We've covered all of the questions that we already been talking for an hour. So thanks for staying here. Thanks for